All right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, the 1010XL app. Of course, we're live on Facebook and recording in the 1010XL podcast studios, and that will all be shared to social media, to all types of platforms. Wherever you watch, listen to your favorite podcast, that's where you find Catching Up with Tommy Mack. You'll also see it each and every episode, along with the Horse's Mouth episodes at TommyMac.net. Brought to me by my good friends, our good friends at Team Tommy Mac. Always there for you. Check them out on the webpage at TommyMac.net when you get a chance. Please, I'll talk about them a little bit later on. It is post-St. Patrick's Day Tuesday. The closest I got to really celebrating St. Patrick's Day was drinking 3 Guinnesses at home while I cooked chicken thighs on the grill. And they were quite tasty, I have to admit. I almost was lured into going to Cole Haynes at the beach, or Cole Hans, as I think I heard it over the TV airwaves, but I didn't make it. I did not make it. Our band, the Dad Bods, has been asked to play there a few times on St. Patty's Day, but we could never figure it out, and I just never made my way over there. But hope you all had a great time. If you did get thrown in the clink, or somebody you know and you're watching this show, make sure you call me. So, perfect time. Great job, Tommy Mac. Perfect time to bring in Chris Lucero's bail bonds, because if you had one too many last night and got in trouble, you make sure that you call 904-822-2245, and they'll get you out in a blink. No question about that. We'll talk a little TPC, tiny bit of March Madness as it's about to start. We'll go through free agency that's out there, a lot of deals being made, a lot of news and notes. We'll talk about that. I've got a little one-on-one with our Jags, like trading, like if you had to pick. I want to see what people think about that. And we'll also go into what James Gladstone said about adding veterans at this time. And we'll look at the draft. I found this on CBS Sports this morning. They ranked the position groups for the NFL draft from 11 to 1. And then they have like top 32 ranks in that position group, top 100 ranks in that position group. So we'll go through that. I thought it was pretty interesting, but I think when I give you the one-on-one on the Jags, who you would move, I think that'll be a good one. Before we get into all of it, let's say good morning to my friend Grammage. Hi, Grammage.
Didn't go out anywhere for St. Patty's Day.
You didn't?
Nothing.
No. How'd you like that nice water spill right there? That was
big time.
Hey, at least no electronics for that one. They cleared the electronics, so that's
the best in the game adapt to their surroundings, Tommy.
Yeah, whatever. I can survive, no question about it.
Got a huge weekend ahead of me. So this past weekend for St. Patty's Day, needed to just lay low.
Okay.
Just
because of March Madness.
Going to Vegas for my bachelor party.
Oh, for March Madness,
yes,
like
sir.
the start of March Madness.
Yes, sir.
You told me about that.
Yes, sir.
All right. When are you leaving? Thursday?
Flying out Thursday night.
Nice.
Gonna be there through Sunday. Taking a red eye home Sunday night.
Oh, I've done that before, no doubt. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So
it's all right. It's a way to go, I think, because you're done. You want to leave it all behind. You get one last round of partying. It doesn't take you into like 4 in the morning. You're done at like 12, maybe 11. Then you get on your plane and sleep, and you wake up hungover and tired as heck. But at least you're to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right? You stop in Atlanta probably, or Charlotte.
I believe on the way home is Atlanta or Miami. It's one of the two.
Or Miami. Got to go Miami.
But
okay.
One on the way there is Miami or Atlanta, and the way back is the other one.
Okay.
I can't remember which one.
No matter what airline you're taking, unless it's private, which I've never done from Vegas, but the plane ride sucks. The one going home is just terrible.
The last time I went to Vegas, the plane ride back was, I think, the worst day of my life.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough trek home.
But yeah,
especially when you've done 3 nights. 2 nights you can handle. In fact, that third night is, very, very challenging.
Yeah. So,
even at a young age,
right?
I found it to be challenging.
We're looking at the flights home, and our only realistic options were flying out at like 6 a.m. Sunday, which that's not going to happen.
How you going to? Then you got to stay up all night.
Right, exactly, which we were going to do anyways.
Right.
But based on the show and the party we're going to Saturday night, we'd miss the flight.
Right.
Yeah. We wouldn't make it to the airport by 4 or whenever we got to get there.
You're right.
So, and then the like mid-afternoon flights were just insane. They weren't the price. It was like almost $1,000 to do that.
Yeah.
It was not realistic. So We're like, screw it. We'll watch college basketball all day.
Yeah.
We'll hang out. We get one more day with the boys.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It'd be a good flight home. There's no doubt about it. It'd be a good time out there. I met Slash in Vegas once. Did I ever tell you that story? So I was on IR in 1997 because I tore my ACL in camp. And I rehabbed it like crazy. They trusted me, and the team was going to Dallas. They had to go play Dallas on the road. So I asked the trainers, I said, hey, could I go meet my brother and a couple childhood friends out in Vegas and go watch the Rolling Stones concert? And they were like, sure, just wear your brace. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll wear my brace. And I did. I wore that ankle to thigh anytime I went out because it protected my knee and it gave me that reassurance. So you put it over your pants so people saw it. They knew something was going on, so you kind of stay away. Anyway, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon, and they played, I think, at the MGM, and I think we were staying there. And there was this big horseshoe bar in the middle of the casino. I mean, massive horseshoe bar. And me and my buddy are like 12 o'clock. We're kind of talking, and he goes, holy beep. He goes, look over there. I think Slash is over there. And this was when, Guns one of my favorite groups of all time. I look over. I'm like, oh, my, holy cow. It really looks like him. He's got a big bodyguard next to him, a gigantic human being next to him. I'm like, holy cow, I think that is him. People are coming up, he's signing stuff. And you got to be careful out there because there's those, impersonators. They're everywhere. And you'll see people, you're like, wait, that's not really, that celebrity.
They're wanting to sell their autograph.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like, come on, you got to go up to him. I'm like, what do you mean I got to go up to him? He's like, you're the NFL player. Just go up to him and say, hey, man, I'm just a big fan. I'm like,
no, that is a fair argument. You're in
listen,
the NFL.
My buddies and my brother, especially Mike, they were always doing that crap. Like, just because we used to have these NFL cards, and I wasn't that one. Like, I'd go to the front of the line at the bar, at a bar and be like, cut the line. Hey, look at me. I got my card.
Oh, I
but
would do
they
that.
would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, give me that card. I'll tell them what's going on. And next thing you know, we'd go in. But they would use that a ton.
They should, as they should. If I had a brother or a close buddy in the NFL,
right,
I would milk that for every last cent it's worth,
we had
man.
So much fun.
They're absolutely right. You have the pitch,
right?
Of hey, I'm in the NFL. You have to talk to me.
Right. You don't have to talk. Anyway, it was we had.
You're
some great
important,
times.
but I'm also important.
Yeah, we had.
You see this brace?
Yeah,
I died for this, man.
You see this brace? We had some great times. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, I get up the nerve. I finally get up the nerve because I'd never been afraid to go up to anybody. I was intimidated to go up to Slash, right? So anyway, I go up to him. I go up by myself. My buddy's he don't even come with me. He's like waiting to see how it goes. I'm like
hiding behind a chair.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna go. And anyway, so I go up to him, and the big guy gets up right away. He's like 6'9", like 350, gigantic human being. And I was like, oh hey, I just want to tell Slash I'm a huge fan, and I grew up listening to his music. So Slash gets up and turns around, and he shakes my hand. And he goes, oh man, you're making me feel old. And I was like, no, and I think we're around the same age. You may be a couple years older than me, but when I was 19, man, and Appetite for Destruction came out, like that changed. That was part of my life. Like that whole album was part of all our lives that year that it came out, 88, 89, and then the others and whatnot. So anyway, he was really cool. And then he looked at my knee and he goes, oh man, what happened? I said, I hurt my knee last year playing against Carolina. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he goes, that's a drag. I said, yeah, it is, Slash. It's a drag, but thank you so. And then I cut off the talk. By the way, my buddy had come by, and he was a big, into music and all this stuff, and he wanted to ask him so many questions, but I cut it short.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang around. He's got other people to talk to. I said, it was really nice to meet you, man. Just highlight probably of my life at this point. And off we went. My buddy Will's like, oh, man, why didn't we stay? We could have talked. I said, because you leave those people alone.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, you
don't wear
right.
out the welcome. You know what I mean?
You were right. If you see somebody like that, and you do and they are gracious enough to give you those couple of moments, you got to take it for what it is, which is a couple of moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not
to be
time.
Thanks for your time.
You're not going to sit here and have beers with him for 3 hours. That's not how this works.
And learn about his life.
You're right. That's not how this works. Right?
No question.
Because those people that want to milk that, that ruins it for anybody that might want to ever just say what's up.
Yeah, they get bothered after a while, man.
Because there are a lot of people. I believe that most celebrities are genuinely nice people and gracious with it. I would
think
say
so, yeah.
85+%. There's
Most
exceptions.
athletes are.
Correct.
Some aren't.
There's
Some don't want to be bothered.
There's exceptions that are not, of course. But I genuinely believe for most of those people, if people would come up and just be very brief, hey, big fan, you know, this is cool, whatever, and keep it moving,
right.
People would be very cool with that.
Yep.
But when you want to sit there and hog 2 hours of their time, it's like, bro.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
They got families they want to hang out with.
They're talking to their buddies. They're hanging out, man. They're not, you know. He was gracious. It was pretty cool, man. He was a pretty big guy. I mean, he's a pretty muscular guy, Slash. He looked good anyway, but nonetheless, that was definitely a highlight. I played Gramage's song before this show. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned, I think I did mention that I recently co-wrote and produced a song with Damian Starkey, who is of Puddle of Mud fame back in the day. He was their bass player, and we co-wrote it, and I sang it. He did some backups and put the music together for it. He sent me the rough cut on Saturday, and I played it for Gramage. Try to get the youth, the younger, generation, see what he thinks about it. I've sent it to select friends and family. Asked them not to share it, of course, just yet because it's not ready yet. But it's a song about my dad and his life, and pretty cool. It came out pretty good. What do you think, Gramage?
It's a Tuesday morning at 9. You're coming out with all the feels, man.
How about that?
I'm like, damn, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a tribute to Tommy's dad, man.
Yeah.
Somebody cutting onions in here, bro.
I know.
No, it was great. It was great. It was really, really good, and people need to get ready to listen when it's out and ready.
Oh, it's gonna be We'll get it out.
Stay
there. No
tuned.
doubt about it. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey man, you only live once. What TF? Just go for it and do whatever you want to do. That's the way I look at it. Do what you want to do in this lifetime. Like I said, we're going to look at these position groups. Pretty interesting. And I tell you, maybe we'll start with that. But when you look at them, I don't know if you've seen this from CBS Sports. So they took every position group with the draft and guys coming out in those position groups, ranked them. How many are in the top 100 of the ranking? And then how many are in the top 32, like first round picks, right? And you look at it, and you know that defensive tackle's high. That's the highest, number one. Them and edge. Defensive tackle's the top-rated position group. 3 are ranked in the top 32, so 3 first-round grades. 14 are ranked in the top 100.
Wow.
So think about that. So everyone's like, I keep seeing the mocks, Mason Graham, and maybe it is. I'm not going to bag it if it is. I hope he turns out to be unbelievable. I really, I don't care. I hope he does. But you think about that, like, wait, there's a lot of defensive tackles in this class. Negative for the Jags anyway. The least ranked, the lowest ranked, interior offensive lineman. So aren't you glad that we shored it up and not relied on the draft? Think about this. So they got 0 in the top 32 guards, and they said centers are even worse. This is guards. Centers are even worse, and they only have 4 in the top 100. Think about that. Now that's not Will Campbell switching to guard, right? He's not in that group. He's in the tackle group, which is pretty good. Okay, just so we know. Now you could play one of them at guard or whatever, but think about that. That's So if you're thinking, we're going to fill up the draft with interior offensive linemen, I'd be careful about thinking that way unless you hit on one of these 4.
Well, I think when you look at the work that Gladstone, Cohen, and Tony did in free agency, it's not a coincidence they loaded up on offensive linemen and defensive linemen. There's still work to do.
Right.
Because I believe that they believe the same thing you just said. Yep. They think in the draft they could get themselves maybe 2 defensive linemen. But on the offensive line, they're like, let's go get some free agents because it's not as strong.
It's not as strong. Now, the kid from Booker from Bama is the caveat. Now he didn't test well at the combine. I know everyone said, man, he just killed people in college, and I get it. He's big, he's nasty, but his athletic score was in the 50s. It wasn't very good. So to me, like Brian DeMarco was our offense. He came in with Baselli, 1995, 6'7", 330, like Tony. He played guard and right tackle. He was a really good player. But if he was going to get beat, it was with speed. because he didn't have the feet like a left tackle, right? He had good feet, but not like a left tackle kind of, you know what I mean? So that guy kind of, I think, worries some people. Because no matter how big and strong you are, it doesn't matter in the NFL if you can't move your hips and your feet and your hands.
The way edges are nowadays, man, these dudes can fly.
Right, no doubt. Well, here, look back to number 2 group is edge. 3 out of the top 32, 14 out of the top 100. How about that? I mean, think about that. You got DT and you got edge, and they've got 28 combined in the top 100. That's a third, a little bit less than a third. Don't you think? I mean, you got 4 picks in the 3 rounds. The Jags do 4. You got 1 in the first, 2, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. Maybe you can get another. I don't know. We'll see. But think about that, because we do need another edge for sure. We do need defensive type, especially nose guard in that kind of one technique, in my opinion. And then the third ranking is OT. They have 5 in the top 32, which is not the highest, second highest, and they have 12 in the top 100. So I'm sitting there too now, like, do you need Will Campbell? You know, do you need Membu? Now that guy, to me, I mean, his credentials back up that he's really good, and his athleticism. He's 332 pounds, and he moves incredibly well. And when I say incredibly, I'm like Baselli incredibly. Like, he moves extremely, extremely well, that kid. But is he good enough to be your left tackle? At number 5, I don't know. I don't know. So, I still want to see or hear about the Michigan Pro Day. I want to see how Kenneth Grant moves.
And Mason Graham?
Well, and Mason. I'm expecting him to move well.
But both, yeah.
Because he's a littler guy. He should move well. I mean, he should move extremely well. But if Grant moves extremely well at 330, now you're like, ooh. Ooh, I need that. You need a 1 technique. We have the 3s. We got Jordan Jefferson as 3, Mason Smith as a 3, Eric Armstead as a 3. Mason can play 1, but you don't want him to. I don't think Jefferson's big enough to play 1. That's on the nose, shaded, or on top, whatever. You need a bigger, thicker, hard-to-move guy that takes on double teams, in my opinion.
You need that big double-wide trailer that sits in the middle of everything.
That gets in the way on the highway and has cars in front of it and back telling you, watch out.
Up traffic.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Tommy, I think the most interesting potential scenario at 5, because I tend to think they're going to stand pat and take a pick at 5. I don't know that the trade value is going to be there to trade back.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't believe they're going to trade up. So and I don't think this is going to happen, but if it were to happen, if Abdul Carter were to fall to 5, I don't think there's any way you can not take him. I think that guy. I think that guy is the next Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, TJ. He's that.
Micah.
He's that guy.
He's kind of built like Micah.
I agree. So if you were to take
if
him,
Abdul Carter falls, I gotta jump on him.
So if you were to take him though, what do you now do with your 3? I assume you're gonna have, because he's got to start at edge if you're gonna take him at 5, right?
He's got to have significant time at edge. I don't know if he has to start on first down for me, but he's got to be a rotational, like, big time on that edge, especially in passing down.
Well, what's he going to play on first down? I can't take a guy at 5 and he'd be on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
I could what if he comes off the bench and gives you 10 sacks? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Guess,
I want him here. Hey, look, we've got our edges. And I know some people out there think we should just move Trayvon inside. I don't agree with that. I got to give that kid credit. By the way, that's part of my question, but I'll get into it. Listen, that kid went from playing 3-4 outside backer, 4-3 D end, and got better. I mean, he just got better. He keeps getting better. So I'm not moving him.
So I generally do agree. And I think this is going to be a moot point anyways, because Abdul Carter is not going to fall to 5.
Yep.
If he does, though, I think it would make some sense to look at moving Trevon inside.
Let me ask you this. Would you trade Josh Hines-Allen and the number 5 pick to get Abdul Carter at number 1 with Tennessee?
No.
Okay.
That I would not do.
Okay.
This is strictly if
he falls.
This is strictly if the grace of God smiles upon Duval County and somehow 4 teams don't take him.
Yeah.
That's the only that. And again, I don't believe that is happening. It would just make things really, really interesting because you would have, in my opinion, 3 elite players at a position where 2 guys play. But you would have one guy in Trayvon that would be most movable to another spot.
Well, first of all, on passing downs, you can move Trayvon wherever you want.
Yes, you can.
And
That's
put
correct.
Carter on the outside.
I agree with that.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
So I could see that. I guess for Tennessee, do you stick with your QBs or do you go Cam Ward?
I believe they're taking Cam. I would at this point, and I don't have insider information just from what I've seen and whatever, and kind of connecting the dots. I'd be shocked if Tennessee doesn't take Cam Ward personally.
The Carter, I get, and I haven't seen the report, but I know the foot is right. He had a foot injury, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that can be cleared up and on. He played with it, so it didn't, I played with stress fractures in college and high school. They're painful. But when you're playing, you kind of forget about them. You know what I mean? The adrenaline goes. They hurt during the week like crazy, but then on game day, you tape it up and take a little pill and
put some happy juice in there, and
and hopefully you don't feel it too bad. That type of thing. But that if that's a concern, that could cause the drop. But I don't know. If I'm Tennessee, I'm not going with Will Levis anymore.
I believe
he's a Zach Wilson, man. He's got tools, but he ain't. I don't know if he's got anything upstairs enough.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like same with Zach Wilson. I think and I don't mean that they're dumb. They just they're not cerebral enough to see the field. Know the field.
The game is too fast for them.
Yeah, it's
very clear.
They can whip it a mile. They look good in a uniform. They're athletic, but their game's not that good. They're inconsistent. They're all over the place. They'll throw 4 touchdowns, but they'll also make terrible throws all game long and finish with like 30% completion.
Well, what'll happen is they'll have a game where they throw 4 touchdowns, and then the next team they play that adjusts from what they see on film will just take that away, and they don't know what to do.
No, right.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
They don't know how to counterpunch. They don't know the quick decisions. And I think Trevor struggled with some of that to an extent. Not in the same way. Those guys are
not to that level, but a little bit. I agree with that.
But
he's got to get better at that.
I do think one thing Trevor could really get better at is in game. I'm not talking week to week. I'm talking drive to drive. Okay, I made this one mistake. I thought someone was going to be there. It wasn't. The defense was prepared for it. So let's go to this thing. That is.
Yeah, not try the same thing over again and hoping it.
That's happens, and I'm not just blaming Trey. I think game planning was part of that. I think there was more than one thing involved in that. But I think now you got a new staff, new playbook, new all that. That I need to be able to see that counterpunch in game more often now.
Listen, I don't. Again, I know a lot of people say, "Well, he's had this, and blah blah blah, all this stuff." He's going into his 5th year, Trevor. He's got a brand new stat. There's nothing anymore. He either has it and can do it, and he shows it consistently. And he's your guy anyway because you're drawing it. You're tied to him. But it's time to really take that game to the next level. Now, I like what Baker Mayfield said about Liam, about the pre-snap reads. He said he made it really simple for me, and it bettered my game 100%. If you know where you're going with the ball pre-snap, or at least have a 90% idea. That's more than half the battle. You know what I mean? You know what's going to be open. You know if it's a hot read. You know where the blitzers come, and you know how your guy's sliding up front. You know where the gap is, in that protection. Even though Trevor's 6'6", he's still got to find those passing lanes that are, so the balls don't get batted down. That type. And that's not a big thing, but it's part of the whole, his progression into being that he's got all the tools, and he's got some mental capacity. There's no doubt, but I wouldn't call him cerebral. I think he can be taught that. He doesn't see the field that great. He misses the backside safety. He misses on throws. He'll throw it 20 feet over their head sometimes for no reason at all, not even getting any pressure. But then he'll make incredible throws and awesome plays and all that. So hopefully they hone that all in together. But I agree with you. He's nowhere near that level. Those guys are just whatever. They're like Barbie dolls. He's not a Barbie doll.
They're lost.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're coming back with any kind of coach.
I never get the sense that Trevor's lost. I get the sense that the sense that there are times where when the defense adjusts well to what they're trying to do, he and his offensive staff he has had in the past
didn't counterpunch very well.
Did not counterpunch well.
Agreed.
And that's and again something that bothers me in Jaguar Twitter land has made it this way, and I know you're going to agree with me on this. You can't criticize Trevor without it saying he sucks and it's nobody else's fault at all. Both things can be true. Right. You can be critical and say that there were times in the past where he could have seen X, Y, and Z and done better and adjusted to this better. He could have been more accurate here. He could have seen this a little quick, whatever. Right. While also acknowledging that his coaching staff didn't do a good enough job putting him in the best situations. Right. And at times, the personnel-wise wasn't where it needed to be. Like, both things can be true. And when both things are true, you win 4 games.
Right.
It's not that hard. It's
and again, he's got the new, Liam's supposed to be this, offensive play-calling wizard and, Udensky and all that, and they're going to develop and hopefully get him right, Trevor right. I see that on Twitter. There, someone put the 5 drops, I think, in one game. I forget who it was, Texans maybe, where there were. And they were legit, but you don't show the other games where he's missing people left and right or he's making bad interceptions. And really, because so what does that mean? It's somewhere in the middle.
Well, correct.
It's somewhere in the middle. And hopefully they can get him towards that 5 touchdown performance. You know what I mean? Get him up to that range. That's going to be the job. He's got all the tools to do it. All right, number 4 ranking. Who do you think? We got DT, we got edge, we got offensive tackle, position group rankings for the draft.
Number 4 is going to be running back.
No, but not too far off. I'll give you a hint. 6 are in the top 32, and 10 are in the top 100, according to CBS Sports. And his name's Chris Trapasso. Thanks, Chris, for putting this
corner.
So there you go there. Like, I know everyone's like, Will Johnson. Like, let's take him at 5. Can you hold off on that with 10 in the top 100?
So let's think about this for a second. They went pretty heavy offense. I know they got defensive guys, but they, for the most part, went pretty heavy offense in free agency.
Yeah.
They signed 3 offensive linemen, 2 of which are going to start. They got a wide receiver.
Yep.
They got 2 tight ends. And then you just now told me that their 2 biggest needs on defense, interior defensive line and corner, are 2 of the deepest positions in the entire draft.
2 out of the 4.
Is the writing on the wall? Or
right, yeah. And you got the caveat of edge of offensive tackle if you want to go that route.
Yeah.
Or it falls that way to you. You're like you said with Abdul Carter,
Yeah.
I know people want Tet McMillan out of Arizona. I mean, would I love it? I don't know. I think that's why they brought in Brown.
Yeah.
What's his name?
De'Ami Brown.
Yes, thank you. For that speed factor on the other side.
And I do believe they'll draft a wide receiver.
I think so too.
At 5.
No, I don't.
I believe
need too much up front, man. You need too much up front. And I know. Look, the one I guess case study where you'd be like, well, he don't need much up front is who? Cincinnati.
Joe Burrow, yeah.
Right. Joe Burrow don't need, but they're paying their guys. They just paid those monster, and they're trying to keep Hendrickson, by the way. And they better. If I'm Cincy, I want Trey Hendrickson back. He's an unbelievable defensive end. I'd love him here. Even off the bench, I wouldn't care, man. That guy, talk about a naturally built pass rusher in Trey Hendrickson, man. Just a phenomenal player. But you look at Joe Burrow and company up there, well, they're not all-star up front, but he is.
Yeah.
But Trevor's not Joe. Is Trevor Joe?
No.
Can Trevor be Joe?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think close, maybe. He's got all the tools to do it physically. But there's that argument, right? Like, well, but I'm more of the argument, no, man, we just saw what happened. The greatest of the game today, arguably, just got his ass rattled in the Super Bowl because he got harassed all game long.
Yeah.
So even the best are going to crumble. They're going to with pressure. So you can have all the weapons in the world, but if I get to your QB, guess what? Those weapons, I've mitigated that risk of them hurting me. You know what I mean? I've mitigated that risk. So, interesting. Wide receivers ranked 5th. 2 are in the top 32. 10 in the top 100. To Gramage's point. Grab a wideout maybe in that round 4, you know?
Round 3, 4, yeah.
You got 4 in the first 3, right? So, DT, corner, OT, and then either edge or wideout, right?
Yeah.
Out of the 4, out of the first 4. We don't need a running back. No. Running back 6th.
Running back, I was listening to Todd McShay the other day.
Yep.
He said this is the deepest running back class in like over a decade.
CBS Sports had 9 in out of the 150. 9.
Actually, he said it's the deepest running back class since 2017, which was the Fournette McCaffrey draft that year.
Yeah. Well, Gianti's the only one to go in the top 32, at least according to CBS Sports. But interesting enough, rounding it out, tight end is 8th, safety is 7th, running back is 6th, like I mentioned. 9th is QB, only 2 in the top 32, 5 in the top 100.
And even those 2, people are. I believe this is my personal belief in watching a guy that watches a lot of college football.
Yeah.
To me, Cam Ward, I believe we can look up in 5 years and say Cam Ward's a stud. Like a stud. Yeah. I think he's really, really good.
I think I've only seen him probably 3 or 4 times, but he was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, he stood out for sure.
I also think he's poised to be a little Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels-ish early on, meaning like he's played a lot of college football. Like I think he's going to come right out of the gates and play. Does that mean he's going to be consistently good for the long haul? None of us know. But I like Cam Ward substantially better than Shedeur Sanders, who I think is a good player, but they talked a lot about Shedeur Sanders' feet. He kind of snaps the ball and sort of just messes around for a little bit, waiting for something to happen, kind of thing. And a lot of that was because his offensive line was terrible, and it was probably hard to always set his feet. But I don't know. I'm just not. It's so funny. Shedeur Sanders, the biggest knock on him is his athletic ability.
Yeah,
the son of Deion Sanders.
Right.
Like, I keep hearing that, and I'm like, what?
Well, again, I
think son of arguably the greatest athlete to ever walk the earth.
He's got all the tools physically.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good arm. He's athletic. You know?
He's not lightning fast.
He kind of throws it. No, he's not lightning fast, but he's athletic enough. Kind of got a weird motion. You know, it's kind of from down here and then up. But whatever. I'm not a quarterback guru. Yeah, but Cam Ward, I tell you, he stood out every time I watched him play. So I mean, again, if you're Tennessee and you're not making a move for either Russell or Aaron or anybody like that, then I don't know, man. I don't think you can live another year with, can Callahan live another year with Levis? You know what I mean? Like, what if it goes south again and you got all these? I think Carter's interesting because they lost Landry to where'd Landry go? He went to New England. Harold Landry, the pass rusher.
Yeah.
So they might look at that and be like, well, Carter can replace him right away. Be our guy. I mean, who doesn't want to play next to Jeffrey Simmons and then Devontae Sweat? That's the kind of one technique I'd like here in Jacksonville.
Tavondre Sweat?
Yeah, what I said.
The Texas guy?
Yeah, from Texas.
From last year. Yeah.
You can't move him.
I wanted the Jags to take him last year.
I know. But there you have it as far as position groups. So maybe we look at it a little different. Tight ends got 5 in the top 100, 1 in Tyler Warren. That'd be interesting.
Tyler Warren is unbelievable.
He is. I know.
He is unbelievable.
He is.
In terms of
Did he race yet? Did he do his pro day yet?
I'm not sure. But
I want to see what he runs. I hope he runs the 40. I just want to see what it is. He's 6'6". I mean, he's a tall, big
he catches everything.
Yeah.
In terms of because I know Kyle Pitts has had a disappointing NFL career so far, at least. Yeah. But in terms of prospect, he's Kyle Pitts. He's Brock Bowers. Yeah. He's in that conversation. Yeah. I mean, he is a monster.
If he can really run,
I
think he can.
I don't think there's really where the Jaguars pick and everything, and the fact that it's got 2 times, there's not really a world where they draft him.
Yep.
But I don't want him in the division.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
No doubt. Dale asked, would I trade Allen for Hendrickson, Josh Hines-Allen for Hendrickson?
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
In a heartbeat. Yeah.
I would.
So there was some talk out there about,
similar ceiling, higher floor.
Yeah, agreed. Trade. There was this, trading Trayvon Walker, and I was like, I wouldn't trade Trayvon Walker. But it got me thinking, if you had to pick between, forget the contract because the contract does matter, but if you had to pick between keeping 41 or 44 and trading the other, who would you keep?
So I'm not factoring contract. Am I factoring age?
No contract.
What about age?
I think that's all fair. Just playmaking, production,
If
where they're going.
If I'm factoring age, I'm taking Trayvon.
Yeah.
Because
well, you have to factor in age. I mean, what are you going to get out of Josh Hines-Allen the next whatever year?
Well, I just didn't know if you meant because if we're taking contracts out, I don't know if you meant for 1 year.
You have to take the contract because you can't trade him. Because you'd be like, well, you can't trade him.
Yeah.
You just
because I
give a hit.
If we're factoring age and future beyond just this season, give me the ascending player.
Yep.
That's continuing to get and I'm not saying Josh is not ascending, but you know what I mean.
I think Trayvon's ceiling and floor keep rising. That's
what
I think.
If both of those players had stock, you'd buy the Trayvon stock.
Yeah, right.
Because it's probably a little bit cheaper now with a higher ceiling.
He's developing still, man. He's got some moves. He's working at it.
But what I love, and we've talked about this for literally years now since they drafted him. Yep. What I love about Trayvon is while he's learning and while he continues to get better and develop and figure everything out, he still treats every in-game snap on Sundays like it's the last snap he's ever going to play.
For sure.
He's a nasty SOB, bullying people. He's like, he knows he's still got to learn and get better and get good at stuff. But he's like, while I'm learning that, I'm still going to give you this work.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
No, absolutely.
Which has made him a really effective football player.
He brings it, man. He's great against the run, and he's getting better against the pass, and his motor doesn't stop, and he's 6'6", 285, who took it to the house with that fumble. He ain't getting rid of that.
That was unbelievable, man.
Never getting rid of that.
I mean, he was making people miss like he was freaking Saquon in the open field. It was unreal.
I love both of them. They're great.
Yeah,
of
course.
I think they should have another big year, especially if big man Armstead's going to stay inside. I think they'll both thrive in that regard when we see more of that. Lane Johnson got a new deal. The offensive tackle up in Philly adds $8 million and $30 million in guaranteed. The money's unbelievable. $30 million in guarantees. His win rate, 94% win rate against the pass, 80% win rate against the run, 4-time All-Pro. We got a Lane Johnson on the team?
No. No.
How about Mayata? Jordan?
No.
Right.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. I want somebody like that.
I do too. This is what we've been saying.
I want my left tackle to be considered one of the best in the game.
Tommy,
not
what
a
have
project still.
This was why, before free agency, before all that, before he even hired James Gladstone, and you and I were in this podcast, this was why when you had said, the offensive line wasn't the problem, I was like, I want to be the solution.
No, right. Not just getting by.
Yes.
Right. Joe Burrow gets by.
Yes.
Right.
I want dudes that eat people on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I want dudes that when the D-line sees them on the schedule, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Baltimore, well, we had one like that, but I had to go against them. But Baltimore had one like that. They had a mean and nasty offensive line in the 1990s.
Did you play your better games against them?
More physical, for sure.
But did you play your best against them?
I think I played fine. I made some plays, but I remember getting picked up one time by their guard. His name was Blackshear. It's his last name. 6'9", 340 guard. And the play came at me, and I had to turn it back in. So I just tried to get around like that. Well, he got his hand over my mask, and he had his other hand on my hip, and he literally picked me up. My feet were off the ground and slammed me on my backside, and my helmet fell off, and I had to get up and I was like, what? I've never been handled like that in my life. That's why they're grizzly bears. You don't want to mess with them, man.
That's got to be the most terrifying feeling.
Well, you're just like, I couldn't see because my chin straps over my eyes. I can't see anything. Next thing I know, I'm like, kapow. I saw it on film. I was like, oh. I'm like, Coach, don't rewind that one, please. But he did multiple times. That's why you got to make those guys miss and hit the back. The backs are more my size. You don't want to mess around with the guard or center. They're a waste of time unless you have to. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I'd like do we have a guard like that?
No.
Well, maybe we do. Makari, maybe.
I sure hope so, man. Ravens fan. These are fans. So
listen, we just went through the draft group. We don't. There's nobody in the inside on the old line.
No, listen.
That's that great.
Listen,
4 in the top 100.
For everybody watching this podcast that's wondering, and you're going to agree with me here, Tommy.
Yeah.
The interior of the offensive line is set. At least the starters.
Oh yeah,
they're set.
Oh yeah, they're here to start.
It's Ezra Cleveland. Yep. It's Ryan Hainsey, and it's Robert Hainsey. Sorry, and Makari. That's your starting interior offense. If you believe they're going to change anything between now and when the season starts,
right?
Assuming health, those are your starters.
Yeah,
like it. That's what it is.
No doubt.
We just talked about the interior line group isn't super. Yep. What are they going to do after they just signed a center?
Yep.
And a guard in free agency who they paid decent money to?
Oh yeah.
What, they're going to go draft another guy to replace him? That's not going to happen.
No.
And they already got Ezra Cleveland under contract.
No, you don't need that.
Tackle, you're correct. Maybe they take Campbell or what, and something could I don't foresee that happening, but maybe Walker Little spot. Yep. Who knows? Guard to guard, they're set, man.
Yep. No, I agree. Then you got to figure out the backups and all of that, but I don't know. That's going to be the concern. Again, hopefully we don't go into the season wondering how our offensive line is going to be. Again, not the problem, but needs to be upgraded for sure, and hopefully they've done at least the interior through free agency. Derek Stingley, highest paid corner in the league. J.C. Horn had it for a week with the Carolina Panthers, but Derek Stingley gets a 3-year, $90 million deal. 89 is guaranteed. I don't know why they didn't fully guarantee it, but they didn't. Left $1 million there, I guess, on the table in case he does something wrong. But hey, I guess he's one of the best out there. Do we have a Derek Stingley? Campbell?
A Derek Stingley?
Ronald Darby signs with the Texans too. How about that?
Well, there you go. So you just throw on his side, so you're fine. He stinks, man. I'm sorry. He stinks.
He did not play well.
He
but
stinks.
Back to the question with Stingley and Campbell. Is Campbell Stingley?
No, but he's Stingley's one of the best corners in the game. But if Stingley is a 10, Tyson Campbell's an 8, I would say.
Okay, that's fair. 7.5, 8. Listen,
he's not a guy.
Run. He's a physical guy. He's got to be better in coverage, man.
He's not a guy, Tommy, that when it's 3rd and 7 and it got to have a situation in the fourth quarter and you got to get the other team off the field. He's not a guy that I'm sitting there like, oh God, they're going to pick on him.
Right.
Ronald Darby was.
Oh, for sure.
Ronald Darby was I was like, they're either going to catch the ball on him or he's going to get a holding call.
Yeah. Or they go after Buster, but Buster held his own.
But Buster,
he battled, man. Last
year, unequivocally, Buster Brown was better than Ronald Darby.
Yeah,
unequivocally. It was not even a debate. The best corner group they had last year was when Tyson was on one side and Buster was on the other.
Yeah, for sure.
And Buster's fine, and he battled his ass off. To your point,
yeah.
We've talked about a lot of times these back end guys that have been too comfortable with roster spots.
Yep.
Buster has earned a roster. He's earned it.
No, he's not comfortable.
That dude has earned everything
he don't play comfortable.
No.
He plays like he's got something to prove every single time.
He plays like he knows he could be cut any given game.
Yeah.
And he battles his ass off.
Yep.
He's not a starter, but he's earned a he
can start if you need him to.
Agree.
Maybe not a full time, but if you need him to start for a few games, you can count on him. Now,
Agreed.
Granted, listen, the rush has got to be there too. It makes their job a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. And you look at Houston, what did they do? They've really built their front up to be pretty formidable overall, at least on the edges, right?
Remember like 2 seasons ago going into throughout the preseason, going into the regular season in 2023, we were kind of talking about how it was between like Greg Jr. and Buster Brown, those like late draft picks. Greg Jr. was like maybe going to start and whatever, and it was like Buster Brown.
Right. That's
totally flipped on its head now.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Buster Brown's on this football team.
Yep.
And to me, Jarian Jones is playing outside, right?
Yeah.
I think so. You signed Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I think he could play outside. I don't know why.
He played a lot of outside in college, and he was really good.
He's got everything you need in a corner. There's no doubt. He's got the length, he's got speed, he's got the attitude.
1,000% agree.
Play the ball.
1,000% agree.
He's good, man. He's good. I look forward to watching him. I look forward to seeing Prince get a chance. I don't know if he's going to crack the lineup, but I want to see him out there in coverage, man. His short bit of time, and it was really short, he was pretty sticky. He was sticky in camp, and he was sticky during one of the games that he got out there. But you got to see more of that. Mekhi Becton goes to the Chargers, 2-year deal. Tevin Jenkins, another guard, to Seattle based on his medical. We'll see if he can pass that. Cuz I saw this thing on Kirk Cousins. He's staying. It triggered another $10 million. You know, he's made like $330. He's made as much money as Tom Brady in a shorter period of time at the quarterback position. He's made $331 million or $332 million, and he's still owed. So what he triggered yesterday or the day before is a $10 million roster bonus next year.
Wow.
Think about that. Those quarterbacks, man. It doesn't, and you don't. And what is he? He's good. He's tough. Look, if you go watch a quarterback series on Netflix, you'll have a lot of respect for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a tough individual, man. He got the crap kicked out of him that season.
He doesn't expect to be spoon-fed stuff. He goes out and earns it. But there's not a more monetarily, there's not a more valuable commodity in the NFL than a readily available quarterback that can substantially raise the floor of your football team.
That's right. And he does that. Kirk does that for sure.
The guys that substantially raise your ceiling and give you they're obviously the most valuable. You're Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, those guys, but they're never available.
Yeah,
their teams will never let them leave the building.
No, right.
Versus a guy like Cousins, who has had a couple jabs at free agency now and a couple times to market himself and see what things look like and be realistically available for a team the highest bidder. Yeah. Because what do we always
steady.
What
He's
do we
steady.
Yes, what do we always say about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
He will if insert whatever team could just if whatever team could just get a quarterback, then they would X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Kirk Cousins is always that quarterback. He's always that guy.
Yeah.
With the Vikings in 2017 make the NFC Championship game with who was it? What's the dude's name? You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, wait, what year?
2017, Minneapolis Miracle. Case Keenum.
Oh, I don't remember it. What? Oh, when he threw it up in the
Stephon Diggs.
Yep. Yeah.
It was the same day the Jaguars lost to Patriots. It was later that day.
Okay.
It was the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yep.
And that team with Case freaking Keenum makes the NFC Championship. So it's like, man, if they just get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, he's the quarterback.
Yep.
The Falcons with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Man, if they can just get a quarterback.
Yep.
He's the quarterback.
And, listen, I make these jokes lately. Like, these owners are they must be, like, laundering their money. They are just throwing them. Like, think about that. Atlanta gave him $200 million in guaranteed money, and he's not their guy after 1 year.
Yeah.
Michael Penix is their year. That's $200 million guaranteed. Like, you're giving that to him, no matter what. And it was just, he's solid, right? That's what Kirk does give you, some just stability.
He raises the floor.
If you had to go to him, you'd be like, okay, we're good. He's not going to cost me again. Might not win it for me on his shoulders, but he ain't going to cost me again.
He's also like the ultimate like barometer, if that makes sense. Because like the Falcons, they've drafted all these skill guys. They've got all these, they got Pitts, London, Bijan, like all these guys, right? But Desmond Ridder was so bad that it's like we don't really know what we have in these guys.
Right.
But when you have Kirk and he's just kind of this like he's kind of just establishes like equilibrium.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, I will be able to know if these guys are good with Kirk at quarterback because I know he's good enough to give them what they need.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He'll deliver the ball.
It's almost
on time.
like
It'll be a good throw, good spiral. He'll know where to go.
Right.
Yep.
He's like the ultimate, like, allow you to see what you have in everyone else.
Yeah, no question.
But then you pay him so much, you got to get rid of other guys.
Yeah. And then we keep him.
It's interesting, man.
Keep him around just in case. Just in case. I tell you, we'll see what the Giants do at quarterback. Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Wilson, Russell? Or is it Jameis Winston, who's going to be traveling there today to do a little interview? Jameis has turned out to be solid. Like, you could trust him with your team. I never thought that him coming out of college. I never was that. I mean, I think he was an impressive college quarterback, but I was like, oh, this guy's going to be I thought Mariota was going to be a good player, and he's a good player, but he's not a superstar picked that high. But he tell you what, Jameis Winston's developed into a very solid and efficient QB that you can win with if you got enough around him. And he's inspirational. Like, he's a good leader. I'd be all right with him if I'm the Giants.
The NFL world of fans deserves Jameis Winston to be a starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
He is so fun to watch because
he is.
I mean, 80-yard touchdown, one play, pick six the next.
Yep.
You just never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
I don't want him to be my team's quarterback.
Yep.
Because I can't ride that roller coaster.
The roller coaster.
But on a Thursday night, you give me a nice snow game, Jameis Winston versus the Bengals.
True.
October 12th. That's ball.
Yeah.
That's ball right there.
No doubt. But he travels out there. We'll see who they end up taking. Juszczyk back to San Fran. Cooper Kupp to Seattle on a $15 million a year. I'm glad we didn't enter that. I hope he does well. Unless we play him, then we take his head off. But, we got to make sure those front lines are solid. We got enough weaponry. We're going to add to it. Would you go running back early in the first 4 picks?
No.
For the Jags? I don't think I would. I heard this rumor, or I've heard, Twitter says ETN to San Diego maybe. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sold on Tank, man. He's got to hold on to the ball. I love the way he runs. I'm sold on the way he runs. He's a very talented guy, but you can't fumble. And I know last year the fumbles weren't recovered by the other team except maybe one, but he fumbled like 4 times.
Well, that goes for both of them.
Can't have it, man.
That goes for both of them.
Yeah.
Because ETN had the devastating one in Miami, obviously, and then he's been a fumbler throughout his career so far. He's had issues with that.
I felt like ETN, at least towards the end of the year, like he would have these great plays that got called back.
Yeah.
Because of a penalty.
Yeah.
It seemed like 1 or 2 a game. He'd break off a 30-yarder holding or illegal formation or whatever the crap it was, Didn't set before the motion.
Yeah. I'm not drafting a running back personally because A, I think there's too many other holes that need to be filled. B, I know it's a deep running back draft, but still, barring something, some crazy trade or something, those are your 2 backs for this year at least, ETN and Bigsby.
I agree.
You run it back one more season. I believe next year, especially with ETN's contract, you're probably going to look to move on then.
Yep.
And it's just, I'm sorry, but it's just too easy to go find a running back that can give you something.
He just needs to be, in my opinion, ETN needs to be utilized more in the passing game.
I agree.
And in space.
I agree.
I think, remember, you probably are too young. San Diego had a third down back. What the heck was his name? He was absolutely incredible in the passing game.
Darren Sproles?
No, it was before him.
Darren Sproles was a beast.
Absolutely, he was. It was before him. It was, he was like the number 1 pass-catching back. He always caught a ton of balls. Ronnie Stanley, maybe?
That's the offensive lineman.
No, he had kind of a similar name like that. I'll have to look it up and maybe remember next time. But I just think we've never seen – all we see ETN in the passing game is screens. Like, you need to get him up the field and do an option route on these backers. And I don't think many guys could cover him.
I don't think so either. And he can catch, man. I think back to in 2023 before things fell apart. You remember that game up in Pittsburgh? He had that big touchdown. Catch to seal it.
Yeah, right.
Man, that catch, he's got no gloves on.
Yep.
It's terrible weather. And Trevor, great throw. Trevor zipped it over 2 defenders.
Yep.
You're not able to see that ball until it comes right.
Yeah.
You've had those, like, when it's going right over a corner, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
ETN caught that thing in stride like it was nothing. He's to the house.
Yep.
game over.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And you need him in open space, man.
You do remember
so fast.
who thought of, Etienne as a receiver before running back. You remember. Herbs.
That's right. He wasn't wrong, just late. Or just early.
He was too early. But he did. Remember, he was trying him out at wideout. He's like, I think this kid can play wideout. I don't think he can play wideout, but I think if you get involved in your passing game, you're adding a weapon out of the backfield. There's no doubt about that. He wore number 33, that San Diego guy. I'm going to have to look him up after the show, because I don't have that handy. But he was one heck of a back out of the backfield. I think Etienne could be that. All right, that's going to do it for us. Please do me a favor. Go to TommyMac.net. You'll see this episode. You see all my episodes of Catching Up with Tommy Mac. You'll see my Horse's Mouth TV show. This is what I wear on the Horse's Mouth. Thought I'd share it today. Tommy Mac's Place. We're at my bar. Every episode's on TommyMac.net. I also have all of Team Tommy Mac listed there with their logos. Just click on their logo, and it'll take you right to the respective websites. And then please, when I post on Facebook and whatnot, and I tag them, have a chance and go check them out on their handle, as they are highlighted each and every post. Love all of them. Always there for you when you need them, and that's why they're on my team, Team Tommy Mac. Ronnie Brown, that's it. It was Ronnie Brown. Thank you, Dale. Yeah, I knew it was Ronnie something. The San Diego Charger. Sorry, I didn't include the audience.
So I am old enough to remember Ronnie Brown, but I remember Ronnie Brown on the Dolphins.
Right, from Auburn.
That Wildcat year.
Didn't he play Auburn? Didn't Ronnie Brown come out of Auburn?
Oh, there's two different ones?
Well, this Ronnie Brown was like 80s, early 90s.
Okay,
Yeah,
never mind. Sorry,
I think it was Ronnie Brown. I'm going to look it up, but I thought it was. Anyway. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was going to be a beast. He came out with Cadillac, didn't he?
Yeah.
Cadillac Williams.
I remember the Ronnie Brown, Ricky Williams, Dolphins Wildcat team.
Right.
Remember they won the AFC East that one random year.
Yeah.
That was a crazy season.
No doubt. Ricky Williams, man, what a talent. That guy was unbelievable. All right, that'll do it for this time around here with Catching Up with Tommy Mac. We'll be back Friday. Grammage won't. He'll be in Vegas.
That's right.
Grammage, have a great weekend.
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah,
yes,
enjoy
sir.
that. I was just saying to my wife yesterday, our 25th anniversary is in April, my wife and I, wedding, and my 25th anniversary of my bachelor party started, it was a Thursday, in Chicago on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
dude,
quite the party.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it really
Phenomenal.
was. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Let's just say Saturday night was the actual party, and I passed out, and they took me to the limo at about 10:30, 11. It was the third night, man. I was done. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. I could care less what we're doing. We had enough fun prior to that, trust me. But, 25 years, baby. 25 years. All right, that'll do it for me and Grammage this time around. Y'all be safe out there. Be cool, and we'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love. Have a great day and week.